She was a breaker of barriers and discovered not one, but two new elements, and gave us an understanding of this new phenomenon she called radioactivity. We give you 10 facts from the very full life of Miss Madame Curie. 1. Birth and early life. On November 7, 1867, Marya Salomea Skłodowska was born in the city of Warsaw, Poland, then within the Russian Empire. She was the youngest of 5 children to their father, Władysław Skłodowska, who taught both mathematics and physics, and Marya's mother, Bronisława Boguska, was also a teacher and oversaw a notable boarding school for girls. Before she turned 11, Marya would suffer the loss of both her sister, Zofia, to typhus, and also her mother to tuberculosis. Being especially gifted, she would graduate school with a gold medal at 15, and she further entrenched herself into her studies, with her formal training of chemistry beginning when she was about 23 years of age in 1890. 2. To France. The following year, in 1891, Marya left Poland for Paris and took on the more French version of her name, Marie, and resided at first, yet briefly, with her sister Bronia, then gravitating to the Latin district and enrolling in the Sorbonne that fall. It is said that Marie absorbed herself so intensely into her studies and coupled with eating very little that this sometimes brought her to the point of fainting. Though her diligence would prove itself, and in the summer of 1893, she placed first in her license for her physical sciences degree and second in mathematics 1 year later. After receiving a grant for her to study the magnetic properties and composition of steel, it would lead to a new chapter in Marie's life. 3. Pierre. In 1894, Marie was in need of a larger laboratory space, and with help from a fellow Polish countryman living in Paris by the name of Józef Wierusz Kowalski, Marie was introduced to a then professor of physics at the ESPCI, Pierre Curie, who at this time had already discovered piezoelectricity 4 years earlier with his brother Jacques in 1880. These are Marie's own words of her first impressions upon meeting Pierre, saying, "I was struck by the open expression of his face and by the slight suggestion of detachment in his whole attitude. His speech, rather slow and deliberate, his simplicity, and his smile, at once grave and youthful, inspired confidence." Marie and Pierre would marry 1 year later on July 26, 1895, with Pierre being 8 years her senior. The two would have 2 daughters, Irene, born 2 years after they wed in 1897, and Eve, born 7 years after Irene in 1904. Tragically, Marie would just have a little over a decade of life and time with Pierre, as he would pass away in April of 1906 from being trampled by a horse-drawn cart after slipping in the rain while passing the busy Rue Dauphine Street in Paris. 4. Uranium Rays. Building off the very recent work of the French scientist Henri Becquerel, who in 1896 observed that uranium salts emitted rays that could expose photographic plates even when kept in the dark, Marie investigated further into these rays by a systematic exploration into the properties of different uranium compounds. Collaborating with Pierre, they conducted quantitative analyses to ascertain the uniformity of the emitted rays across diverse chemical forms of uranium. Notably, Marie observed a consistent intensity in the radiation, irrespective of the compound's specific characteristics. This discovery challenged the prevailing understanding that the uranium rays were contingent upon chemical composition, and that the rays must be an inherent quality of the uranium atoms themselves, and suggested that atoms were made of smaller components. This, indeed, was a groundbreaking insight and helped spawn a brand new field of atomic physics. During this time of her research, she also coined the name radioactivity for the emission of the ionizing rays. 5. The new elements. In 1898, while working with pitchblende, a uranium-rich ore also known as uraninite, using the electrometer designed by Pierre years earlier, Marie found that the pitchblende was 4 times as active as uranium itself. This made her to believe there could be another element within the pitchblende and led her to dig deeper to find the root of the emission. Marie was able to find the new element in July of 1898. This new element was 300 times more active than uranium, and Marie called it polonium, after her home country of Poland. It would be only 5 short months later, when in December of 1898, that Marie and Pierre were able to proclaim a second new element found. This one was an astounding 1,000,000 times more active than uranium, and they called it radium, after the Latin word for ray. 6. Isolating radium. It would take 4 years after her discovery of radium for Marie to finally be able to achieve its isolation. It would require tons of pitchblende to isolate even the smallest amount of radium, as radium was only within the pitchblende in such small quantities. Radium was chemically similar to barium, and the pitchblende contained them both. By using differential crystallization, Marie and Pierre were able to separate out the radium salt from the other materials. And on April 20th, 1902, the Curies were successful and had acquired a mere 1/10 of a gram of radium chloride. 7. Little Curies. Marie Curie's contribution during World War I was her pioneering use of mobile X-ray units on the front lines. Recognizing the urgent need for medical diagnostics to treat wounded soldiers, Curie, along with her daughter Irene, designed and implemented these innovative units, first used in 1914. These mobile radiography vehicles, popularly known as Little Curies, played a vital role in swiftly diagnosing injuries and guiding medical interventions. The portability of these X-ray units allowed medical teams to bring advanced diagnostic capabilities directly to the battlefield, significantly improving the efficiency and accuracy of medical care during the war. It is estimated that these mobile X-ray units treated up to 1,000,000 soldiers. 8. Many firsts. On top of her being the first to discover the 2 new elements, Marie had other firsts which were also to her credit. Marie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, jointly with Pierre and Henri Becquerel in physics for their work on radioactivity. The first person ever to win a Nobel Prize in 2 scientific fields, the second Nobel in 1911 in chemistry for her discovery of polonium and radium. First female faculty member at the École Normale Supérieure. First female professor at the University of Paris or the Sorbonne in 1906. And post-life, Marie would be the first woman entombed on her own merits in the Pantheon in Paris in 1995. 9. Her books. Marie Curie's work lives on in more of a peculiar way than one may expect. Her laboratory notebooks, which are still radioactive to this very day, represent an invaluable scientific archive that provides insight into her research on radioactivity. These notebooks, often stored in their lead-lined containers due to their radioactive nature, contain records of her experiments, observations, and calculations. Despite the potential health risks associated with handling radioactive materials, Curie's dedication to advancing scientific understanding led her to meticulously document her pioneering work. The radioactive notebooks not only chronicle her discoveries of the elements polonium and radium, but also serve as a testament to her commitment to pushing the boundaries of scientific knowledge, despite the challenges and risks involved. 10. Death and legacy. Marie Curie passed away on July 4, 1934, at the age of 66. The cause of death was aplastic anemia, thought to be caused by her excessive exposure to radiation, which is a condition characterized by the insufficient production of blood cells in the bone marrow. Marie Curie's legacy extends far beyond her scientific discoveries, as numerous entities and phenomena bear her name in recognition of her contributions. The element curium, discovered in 1944, is named after her, honoring her work in radioactivity. Additionally, the Curie, a unit of radioactivity, serves as a tribute. Institutions such as the Curie Institute in Paris dedicated to cancer research and treatment, and the Marie Curie Fellowship, supporting scientific endeavors, further immortalize her name. Various awards, streets, and even a lunar crater named Curie pay homage to her impact on science and humanity. Marie Curie's name remains synonymous with excellence in scientific exploration, inspiring future generations of both men and women to come. We thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more interesting facts about our world.